Smith, that's the one that stands out to me. That's interesting. I was wondering what you're going to do about the centres. If you have to move David maybe to wing or not.
Yeah, that was, I just, as I said to that guy now, I just think David's shown so much improvement in the midfield. And what tends to happen if you move him, then you make another change. In other words, you break something that's basically trying to be put together. So, and he's trained well. Cornell's trained really well. Cornell, as in Smith, he's trained well. He's probably, as I've been, it's one of those things where I've been saying to him, just be patient, you get a chance. I mean, now he gets to play in a semi-final against an Irish backline. So, but I mean, that's what sport's all about for me, is that there's no use me telling a youngster you're going to get a chance, and when it comes, then, I go another route. So, he's obviously a hell of excited. He's been around, he played SA schools, he's a goal kicker, he's got some skill, he's quick. It probably helps because I know that Jacques and those guys wouldn't expect him to be playing either, which means that there's no video work they can do on him. So, so it's amazing. Maybe, who knows, he has a game of his life tomorrow and then everyone will know who he is.
Coach, in terms of that's the inclusion, in terms of the exclusion, Marcel could say any news on them? A positive update a week ago? Did he not quite win?
Yeah, I probably could have played him. But credit to him. He just doesn't want to be a yard slow. Doesn't want to be not where he needs to be and allow Leinster, because the way Leinster play is he has to be 100% right to fill the field. Him carrying the ball 5 meters out or him, making a tackle is the easy part. But the way Leinster play, as you can see, the way they played Toulouse, I think Lamore touched the ball 14 times, James Lowe touched it 11 times. So 25 times the outside, all those two wingers touched the ball. If you have loose forwards that are not filling the field defensively, then you basically help them expose you on the outside. So credit to him, So it was actually quite an interesting thing because when I announced it, I said, guys, the one thing I respect is if he's not ready, he said he's not ready. Because a selfish guy could say, I want to be in the semi-final, I want to play at home. So, I think the players can respect him as a captain as well because he makes that decision. And it's always easy to say, I agree until you're the guy. So that's a very good lesson for us as a team as well, that even our captain, if he doesn't think it's the right thing for the match, then he pulls out, then maybe next time someone else is going to be in that situation, he's going to also have to make that call.
How crucial is the return of Marco for starting, especially when you look at the mentioned against the way that they played? They also obviously got Josh Van Field, who's very good on the ground. How important is it for you to also have a presence on the ground with Marco as well as Ford as well?
Look, I think they have. So I wasn't sure about the kicking stat, but you might be right. But the one thing about them, they hold on to the ball. If you're just comfortable giving them the ball, they'll keep it for 20 phases. So you've got to find a way to get it back, and you've got to be accurate at the breakdown too. It's easy to say, we just go hard at the breakdown, but you give a penalty away and they kick it in the corner, you end up defending a 5-meter line out. So it's nice to have him back because he's got experience. He's played in the World Cup. He's also wants to play in 2 weeks' time. He wants to be part of this team that plays against Ireland as well. So, I just sense with a guy like him, it's almost like a trial for him as well. They got Jaspers out because of the suspension. I'm not sure what's happening with Sia in terms of where he is. I'm talking about finals and Racing Metro. So he might feel this is a great opportunity for him to show the selectors that he can be ready for 2 weeks' time. And how much better can he be, or how much better can it be for him to play against Josh van der Vlier and Caelan Doris and Ryan and the guys who are probably going to be in the Irish team in 2 weeks' time.
And also how vindicated do you feel now with the signings of the likes of Devin Williams and Cornell Smith when they come in to help you in such a situation that you find yourself in right now? Starting to a big game.
I'll tell you what I am most excited about is that I've changed the team around enough times to know that if Devon has to play now, it's not like and Cornell's probably an exception, but he's been training and training and training, and I always knew he was going to get a chance. I just wasn't sure when it was going to come. So it's not a case of being vindicated. You want a squad that's balanced, and you want a squad that you can interchange. And I mean, Devon was on fire in the beginning of the year when Willie wasn't here. I mean, Devon was one of the stars of our team. So, he also adds a different dimension as well. He's left-footed, and he's played fullback, so it means he's going to be good under the high ball because he's, and we know they like to kick up and unders as well. So, I'm not just singing out those two guys. I think the fact that Cameron comes in and starts above Marcel doesn't, some would say that Cameron has played better than Marcel did in the last couple of games as well, but that's what's so nice about interchanging a squad is you get comfort out of the fact that it's not seen as panic, or it doesn't seem as you picking players who aren't mentally prepared for what's coming.
Jake, looking at this fixture, you would have considered yourselves underdogs with Canaan and Quickly.
Yeah.
And then you lost them, which in that situation
Yeah.
was now lost.
So we would have been underdogs even if we had Eben Etzebeth and Saisia Kolisi and I think again, I really am a realist. You guys are underplaying how good Leinster are. They have, Ken Healy's got more test caps, and more games for Leinster than I think our whole bench has got together. That's the caliber of guy they have. So when you say underdogs, I read in the paper they said the underdogs. If I spend 10 years at a club and I have 25 internationals and I tell you that we're underdogs, you would be panicking.
The question is, how much worse is the situation?
Yeah. Well, it's not worse as in, I wouldn't use the word worse. It would be better if we had those experienced players there. But I'll tell you, that's what the beauty of sport is no one thought Benetton could beat us last week, and they nearly beat us. And so, it just shows that on the day, if you play well enough and you believe and you have a crack, and that's one thing that I'm going to say to you, we're gonna have a go. We're not going to die wondering. So, if I sit here and I go, geez, we've lost Kane and we've lost Kirkley, and geez, what happens if Marcel's not playing? Well, then we really got no chance anyway. So those guys, who knows? Maybe Devon scores the winning try tomorrow, ends up becoming a household name in Pretoria. That's how quickly sport changes. So I'm comfortable. That's the best we've got. We've prepared as best we can. We know the challenge. I'm really not naive or unrealistic in saying to you this is. And that guy said it, and it's quite spooky when he says it. But it's probably the biggest club game we've had in a long time. And especially because they're coming here in 2 weeks' time to play a test match. So it's a little bit like playing the Crusaders, and next week the All Black, or 2 weeks' time the All Blacks are coming here, and 2/3 of the All Black team are playing for the Crusaders. So, and this group's never experienced that. The Victors and the Buckies and the Pierce Pieces and the Free Prias, they got that. These guys have, Rainbow Cups have been against Griquas, Pumas, Griffins. And then they go through, the next trophy, whatever, Super Rugby Unlocked, and they get Lions away and Stormers away. And all of a sudden, 4 years later, you're getting Leinster with 25 internationals, a World Cup winning coach, and a team that's desperate to win. There's no more I can say about that other than we'll have to see tomorrow where we are.
A lot of the talk since Benetton from you guys about what chances we have of beating Leinster tomorrow is centered on someone set defense, defend our lives. Giannis, I think, said we gave you good at the things that you're in talent for. Altitude, heat, hopefully, all of that stuff. It's all stuff that's not technical. At a technical level, what is it that you think you should do to beat this team, given that you've actually statistically got a better lineup, and they've turned over more turnovers than you have, and you've taken turnovers?
I would say the one thing is, well, not the one thing, but the technical stuff is just doing the basics as well as you can. You read any book Doc Craven wrote or whatever. I mean, you need your set piece, you need your defensive, you need your goal kicker to kick well. Those are just, I mean, I know it's such an obvious answer, but against a team like this, and then the last thing is you're going to have to fight for 80 minutes because they're a quality team. I mean, they took Toulouse into injury time, and Toulouse got a budget of about 300 million. And they've got the best rugby player in the world now at 9, and they've got Intermac at 10, and they took that team like into injury time before they lost the game. So without sitting here and because it almost sounds like whatever I say is wrong, but we still got to grow. I mean, I've been here 4 years, and as I said to you, we played Greek Quiz and we played Griffins and and now it's gone like from that to Leinster at home. And all these test players and all these guys, don't underestimate, they too want to play for Ireland. They too want to make sure that the Irish coach wants to back them. So we're just going to have to be as good as we can at the things we do. And the answer technically is just do the basics as well as you can, and don't try and do things that you don't need to do, because it's going to take a team effort. Even the bench, I'm going to have to use my bench tomorrow as well, because if they play for 80 minutes, then I'm going to expect the bench to be part of that fixture as well.
Jake, we saw what happened in Dublin when the bench came on. We also saw recently a team like the Warriors finishing very strongly in the second half against the Bulls at Loftus. It's almost like that storm is coming in the second half.
Yeah.
How do you counter it?
Well, it just depends on, again, I can only answer when I see what team they're going to pick. Hopefully they do the same thing and put all the best players on the bench.
Yeah.
And when I say hopefully, I'm saying then hopefully we get a good start and they got to play catch up. But I can't answer until I know how they're going to. I mean, that game specifically, they put all the main guys on the bench, and then when we put our bench on, then basically our bench, who were guys that weren't our number one, were playing their number ones. So, which, if you think about it, is a massive difference. So I can only answer Quibus on, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I'll only see, but I don't. They're so good. I mean, they're so good and so talented and so experienced that, I mean, if Caelan Doris plays or Conan plays, which one do you think I'd prefer to play against in the first half? And if Maloney starts and or Ryan starts at lock, does it really make a difference? Because I think they're so oiled and they're so, I read something the other day and I listened to, but these guys have played, in the last 3 years, these guys have played in 3 European Cup games, this group of players. This group of players have played in the World Cup. This group of players have played in URC playoffs. This group of players have played in Six Nations and won Six Nations. Now, when you add that up, Quibus, geez, that's an incredible fast-tracking of skill, experience, and compared to Griquas away or Pumas at home, or that's been up. No one's fault. Just trying to compare apples with apples. This group of players have won Six Nations, played in the World Cups, played 3 European Cup finals, played in. Geez, and all they do is they change the colour of their jersey. They go blue one week, green the next week. Now, that's a wonderful position to be in. It's a little bit like when I got to the Brumbies and the days of Gregan, Larkham, Mortlock, Roth, that team, Finnegan, Jeremy Paul, Bill Young, that team played for Australia. They play for Brumbies and Super Rugby, and then they swap to gold jerseys and they play for. It's no different to what's happening in Ireland. And I say it to you because that's where I want to get to. I want to get to when we run out the tunnel, whether Elrich's on the bench or whether Marcel's on the bench or whether Cameron Honeycomb, who hopefully is a Springbok's on the bench, or whether Gumedi, who's now in the Springbok squad's on the bench, will be in the same position. But we're not there yet. But one thing about sport, which is fantastic, there's no givens about who should win and all that, because that's why sport is such an amazing thing. Because you've been in situations or in stadiums where you didn't think the guy had a chance and he ended up winning.
Coach, this game, this season, you've sort of applied lessons you learned from the season that's coming to the sport. Tomorrow's game, how much of a test is it for you again, for you to learn and see what the group is, and also see where you are as a coach?
Well, that's what I wanted to take out of tomorrow. We're playing at home. We've done all the hard yards. I said to you guys many times the last couple of weeks. If I'd said to you, listen, Bulls come second on the log, this year we play Benetton in the quarterfinals and Leinster in the semi-finals, there are not many guys that were involved in this club that would have said no. So we've managed to get an improvement of where we are as a group, but we want to win. I mean, I don't want you now to hear my voice and think that I'm content that that if we lose to a very good Leinster team, that therefore everything's fine. I mean, I want to win, but it's always a measurement for us as a club. It's we want to improve. Have we improved? I'm sure we've improved. Having a guy like David Creel, when I hear that, I get really excited because people are talking about David Creel. He's not even in the camp. So that's the kind of guy that we've got as a backup. So it's a measurement. It is a measurement for us as a club. And to be really honest, boys, we don't really have much to lose, do we? I mean, we don't really have much to lose. I mean, we're playing against a quality team. They beat us by 40 points the last time we played. It could have been worse. But that's also, sometimes it's also a bit of a blessing because we can actually play and play like we want to just enjoy it.
I mean, Leinster's desperation to win a trophy or to win a game, is it something that you can sort of use to explain the sort of frustrating?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Jacques won trophies, so you'll know how to win trophies. I mean, let's be fair, I mean, people always talk about that, guys. I said the All Blacks choked at every World Cup, and then they won 2 in a row. So I mean, one thing about sport is going to change. And they're too good a team. They're too well coached. They're too, signing. And I go again, Ergia and Geordie Barrett next year. I mean, geez, guys. I mean, eventually you're not going to always be able to use the excuse about these guys can't win. I think their win record is about 90%. You think about it, a lot of these guys could play. Some of these players could have played the whole year and never lost a game for Leinster, or even Ireland. So I don't know, did they lose in the Six Nations? And I'm not sure, but I mean, if they didn't, I mean, they could spend the whole season where some boys who played for Leinster and for Ireland probably haven't lost a rugby game this year. There's not many guys that are playing professional rugby that can say that at the end of the season.
Coach, I'm not sure about the ticket sales, but then how happy are you that Pretoria has arrived
Yeah, I'd love it to be sold out. I told you guys the week. I mean, one thing that I know what it's like, and again, I've been long enough in the game to know that when you arrive at Loftus and there's 50,000 people here, it's an incredible advantage for a team, for a home team. But it's difficult. It's just difficult because a test match here in 2 weeks' time, middle of the month. People don't have the money, and But what I am hoping for is that the sort of die-hard supporters will bring their families and they will be here to support the team. Because the one thing we do need is we need as many supporters here to be behind the team.
Jake, we've spoken a lot about you guys being underdogs, but on the contrast, you guys have got a very proud record here at Loftus. I think only Munster's beaten you in your URC at Loftus. So how much of your talk to the players is about them coming to your house and making sure that they understand that they're playing away?
Yeah, well, Brendan, that's why I suppose one goes hand in hand. If we get a full house here, we get all these fanatical Bull supporters, which we know are so behind the team. Then it is a massive advantage, and we will talk about it. We don't want to be losing, in front of our crowd or on our field anyway. And it's something that, over the last 4 years, I think we might have a 90% win rate at home in all competitions. So it's not something we want to give up. But I must say, I don't labour that point to the players. I think they instinctively know how nice it is to be at home. The change room, your own home, your own bed, your pre-match meal in your own restaurant. It would be a very different challenge for us if I was sitting now in Dublin, about to play at the RDS or at the Aviva Stadium. And that is, I think, all teams that are doing well in any competition pride themselves on what they do at home. I mean, as I said to you, I'm not sure Leinster, but I would also think there haven't been many teams that probably the last team that have gone to Leinster and won as well. So I think any good sporting team takes pride in the fact that their home games are must-win games. In fact, if we had beaten Munster, we would have come first. It just shows you how important winning at home is.
And just now, if tomorrow goes you guys' way and and the ball bounces the right way and you guys win the game. Would you consider that a bigger win than in Dublin 2 years ago? Considering where the group is
Yeah,
at?
it would be close, because I think the reason that game was so big, it was away from home and it was with a really, really young, inexperienced team. If I go through that team, you won't believe who we picked. I mean, I look at it. I mean, I don't want to, belittle anyone that was in that group. But if I compare what we have now compared to that team, we've grown. I mean, guys have got 2-3 years more experience. Guys have played, in combinations a bit longer. So it's difficult to say, would it be bigger? I think it would be bigger in the context because of where we are as a group, and it would mean so much more to us to build on that. But it won't take away from the fact that what we achieved there that day with what we had and the inexperience we had was massive.
I mean, Councillor.
Jake, I needed to carry a handkerchief being underdogs and everything. So at the end of the day, do you consider that guts, passion, and definitely decision making will be the three factors that will carry you through?
Yeah, Carl, I think those three things are definitely, they must be given. I mean, I don't think you're going to get through this game without those three things. But then there's also, as I said, the accuracy and the understanding of what's coming, and mentally understanding that this is going to be, it's going to be a test. One of the things about why they call it a test match in rugby is because it's a test of who you are, what your team is, who you are individually. And I would think this is as close to a test match. This is by far the biggest club game the Bulls have played in a long, long, long time, because it's a test for us. And those things are important, of course, but we're going to have to be accurate, because the one thing about Leinster is they get a penalty in the first 3 minutes. They aren't going for poles. They're going to go to the corner, and that's the difference. They want to make sure they make a statement early on and almost win the game. It's a little bit like I use an example, and I don't know if you guys follow golf, but I'll tell you what used to happen in the old days. Golf is played over 4 days, and they used to play the first 2 days to make the cut. And then the tournament basically started on the Saturday. That's how golf used to be. So everyone would play Thursday, Friday, make the cut, and then anyone could win the competition on a Saturday and Sunday. Tiger Woods arrived, and he went, hang on, this doesn't make sense. So he went 10 under the first day, 11 under the second day, and he was 21 under after 2 days, and the tournament was over because all these other guys were trying to make the cut. And so what I'm saying is Leinster have proved that. What they do is they go 20 points up and they go, okay, now let's see how good you are and see whether or not you can beat us. So the guts and all that is, yes, you need that. You've got to fight till the end, but we've also got to be accurate and understand that, Leinster are a quality team. If you give them 20-point start, it's a very, very difficult place to be, because they will, they're good enough, experienced enough to actually put you away.
I'm not happy. Oh, yes.
Coach, a lot of talk has been that this game has the test match atmosphere, and it's Ireland against South Africa, and there are a lot of guys in the squad like Cameron Hannakom, David Krill, Ambrose has also come back into form now. How do you sort of handle the mental aspect for those guys knocking on the Springbok door going into this semi-final game?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because I just stress to them that they're not going to make the Springbok team by being individuals and playing trials. So, that is my message to them. You're not going to make the team because you're trying to play for yourself. It's going to stand out. So just do what you have to do, stick to what the team wants to do, because it's natural. Again, every kid is like when I've coached long enough to know, you go to Craven Week trials and some guy arrives with his purple socks so that the selectors can see him, and all he wants to do is make sure that my message to them is they've done enough this year to be noticed. They don't need to do anything where they try and make a name for themselves, play on their own. We've got to trust that what we've put together as a group is going to be good enough, and that's probably the thing that we can win with. We can win because if our group is connected and they worked for each other and they work together, like the captain saying, "I'm not ready this weekend." That's a massive statement for us as a club.
Coach, last week, I think it's this week on Monday, there is a statement that was released by the Bulls, and we did utter words such as, what is the point of playing a home ground if you are not going to use it as an advantage?
Correct.
So what baffles me is that, yes, most of the time, an advantage of playing at home, it's having a lot of supporters coming through.
Yep.
But what are other advantages of playing at home despite expecting, the number of supporters coming through?
Okay, what I did mean is I would like it to be full and the supporters to be behind us. So that is given. But as I said earlier, sleep in your own bed, stay in your own change room. Same things you do during the week. You don't have to travel. Spending time with your family, doing things that you would do in a normal week. Those are things that are important to players as well. If we had to fly and we had to fly with 3 different airlines or whatever the story is, and go to 3 different venues and arrive at different times, and it's obviously not you don't get an advantage in doing that. That's what I meant as well.
And the last one, Coach, I stand to be corrected. I believe in the first UFC game of the year, we lost 1-3
Yes.
against Leinster.
Yes.
And we went on to beat them in the semi-final.
Yes.
So from the assessment that you made from both games, what is it that you did right in the semi-final, or which you applied right in the semi-final, which you didn't apply in the first game that you played against the UFC? And must we expect you applying the same strategy playing against Leinster again tomorrow?
Are you working for Leinster?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. No. What we did is it's very simple, and I'm going to say this to you. The first game, 31-3, we did things that allowed them to do things well. The second game, we took those things away and didn't give those things to them. So that's basically what we've worked out with them is you don't want to give them what they're good at. You want to try and take those things away. And it's easier said than done, but that's what you want to do. You don't want to give them the things that they can really do well against you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.